Realsies. So now we will go live on YouTube. We will pray, at least for a few moments. And then I will pull up the list of people who are going today. I think there were 4 of you. And then we still have to go live on TikTok. Yes, there are 4 of you. Today we are looking for Clay Dog, Chaotic Order, Rice Quinn, and Freeze. What's up, Jane? I am doing pretty good. How are you doing today? I just heard my phone vibrate and I guessed. It's always me, Nuttin. It's always been me. Okay, YouTube is... Oh my god, YouTube successfully live on the first try. What a fucking victory that is for me and for France. We will go to Magic the Gathering on TikTok. We will go live on TikTok. We will pop out the TikTok live chat because I am good at this job. And I will put 5 minutes on the vamp clock. Bump set Spike. Troper, thank you for the 17th month of that tier 1 sub, my friend. Welcome back to the dog home. On time adjacent, also I want you to know you're currently the only channel I'm actually sub to. Can't stay long because Shoulda and I are mid-move, but we're doing okay. Well, I hope the best for the 2 of you. I hope that move goes well, and I hope it's to bigger and better things. What is up, Freeze? You are one of our roasties today. I don't see anybody else yet, but I'm sure they will be along soon. Freeze, if at the end of the 5-minute vamp timer, none of our other roasties are here, we will begin with you. Biggs Dog 03, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate that generosity very much. One second, everybody. I'm working on the back end in a very sneaky and interesting way. I promise. Okay, Elikman, you are refunded for that one-off. Ellendall, thank you for the 5 months in a row at tier 1, my friend. Welcome back to the dog home. Oh, also, fuck pirate software. If you're in the EU, go sign the Stop Killing Games petition. What happened? I thought everybody loved that guy. I thought everybody loved that guy. Dark. No, I am not. I am not emotionally ready to go back into Summoner's Rift. I'm so sad they killed Brawl for Arena. Like, why the fuck? That's like killing the mother to save the child to me. We could have made another bad game mode. Why didn't we keep the good one? Good afternoon. I died to poison counters in Final Fantasy Draft on Arena. Anthem, it may surprise you to learn, that's happened to me too. I have also lost to somebody getting Finn the goddamn Fang Bearer in their fucking bonus sheet. Sylvan, no, we're counting down on the vamp timer to make sure that I actually get to the deck roasting in a reasonable time frame. I'm gonna hit the manual ad break on Twitch, so get fucking banished if you're on Twitch. Yeah, and then Wolf, we are fucking... So there was a mode in League of Legends. This is what we're going to talk about for the next 90 seconds. There was a mode in League of Legends that was League of Legends if it was good. It was called Brawl, and instead of farming and laning and trying to coordinate with a bunch of like brain dead people who you couldn't speak to, Brawl was just like one lane. You were basically playing soccer with the minions, and all you had to do was fight, and you could farm, and there were some jungle camps off to the side, but you mostly just got to scrap and be in a team fight the whole time, and you would get to level 18 by the end of the game, and it was the best thing ever, and they fucking killed it. They had it around for like a month, and now instead we have Arena, which some of you have been Stockholm syndromed into liking, but Arena is just like, what if we scrapped, but also it was random. The whole thing I liked about Brawl is that we actually had some level of agency over how the game fucking developed. Versus Arena, which is just like, hey, it's like being a character in JJK. You can be born just a normal fucking dude, or you can be Gojo, and somehow everybody's in love with that bullshit. Nobody played Brawl because it was bad. Storming, I logged, I think, like 200 Brawl games over the time it was live. This is the most fun I have ever had playing League of Legends. And that is going to be the end of the vamp timer. We have 90 seconds left. We have 90 seconds left in the ad break. And so we are going to hold until then. So Mauld, is the Draft King, I'd like to ask, did you ever play New Capenna Limited? No. I did not start drafting until like a year ago or something. That's because Twisted Treeline sucked and was bad, Storming, as opposed to Brawl, which is good as fuck. Hold on, let me BM one of our viewers. We're gonna run 5 more minutes of ads just for Terrence. But yeah, I love Brawl. I've tried to fuck with Arena. It just like, I don't know. I genuinely can't wrap my head around why people like Arena. And because Arena feels so much like you can just get locked the fuck out of being able to play. Like you can't, or it's kind of like TFT. Brawl was just ARAM for people opposed to trying new things. All right, Storming, bait used to be believable because I am an ARAM hater, and I still love Brawl. Because the thing that I dislike about Brawl and that I dislike about Arena is that it takes so much of the gameplay loop out of your hands. Like whatever, you can't control what other people are going to pick, but it also takes the gameplay loop that I want to play out of my hand. Versus like ARAM, oh whatever, I get a champion that I don't like playing. Great, that sucks. Arena, I pick a champion I like playing. I get weird ass augments. I mean, it's not literally the same. It's a, like, if the starting point of our conversation is a game mode where you get to pick your champion versus a game mode where you do not get to pick your champion is functionally the same game, we have zero to talk about. Like there's no discussion that can be had if our starting point is being able to control the champ you play and not being able to control the champ you play are the same game. Chowder Bisque, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse. Nightsea, I'm caught up with Dresden Files. Potentially baked mistakes. We will talk about it in the next vamp section. We do have to kind of get it moving quickly. Sorry, functionally the same gameplay, so AM instead of ARAM. I mean, the lane layout is the same, but I think you might just like too many champions, Stormy. You might not be a deep enough hater, because I like League. I hate most League champions. And there's also yeah, and so there's just so much of the game There's just so much of the game that I don't enjoy playing, that being forced to play it because of how the ARAM team has shaken out is like crushingly bad, versus Brawl, where I was basically exclusively playing in a 5-stack or 4-stack, and we could control like what is our goal, what is our overarching goal for our team comp, and what is my individual champion goal, versus not having to spend like 20 minutes laning beforehand, is a very fun gameplay loop. The jungle camps do make a discrete difference. However, it does still revolve around you are moving as like a set of 5. I forgot to ask Elk, and so I'll ask them and see if they can move stuff, but we'll see. League with 5 friends is fundamentally different from the game the rest of us get to play. That is also true, and that's part of why I argue you should never play League alone, because League alone is a bad game. Okay, but before I get dragged down too far arguing about this, we're looking for Claydog, Chaotic Order, Rice Quinn, and Freeze. I have seen Freeze. If I do not see any of those other 3 in the next maybe 10 to 20 seconds, we're going to open with Freeze. Luke, the other platforms I'm on right now are Twitch and YouTube. The Twitch chat is legally the only one that gets to appear on screen. All right, there's Clay. Beautiful. The 4th Canine, thank you for that Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home. And Terrence, thank you for the 6th month in a row with that Prime sub to escape the ad space. Sid Harold, thank you for the Prime for the 9th month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Hey Maud, love your draft content. Want to say thanks for being awesome and energetic. I don't get to play much Magic, but how do you feel about Arden the Usurper for a Demon Kindred EDH deck? Sid, I will talk more about that in the next Vamp section. It's probably fine. It's not, but I have to lie so that we can get to the deck roasting. We're going to open with Claydog, who has sent in a spooky deck. I need to extend this. Okay. From Clay, I've only played a handful of games in the last 10 years, and when I did play regularly, it was pretty casual. Any LGS is pretty far away, so what I'm mostly wanting is a vibe check on the deck that could be my go-to deck. I'm going with the assumption that a lot of power creep has happened, so I think I've aimed up far enough, at least so that I don't get murdered on turn 4, but I can only do so much with goldfishing. I think I've put some of the meaner cards / infinite loops in the sideboard. This deck began as me seeing the commander and being reminded of Glissa the Trader, and I wanted to make a bad Voltron / token deck they could both exist in. However, the landfall and mill brainworms got me. I do want to keep Landsack for payoff. Everything else can move around. Jesus. Huh? Jesus Christ. Oh, Thalrog. Oh, God. God damn it, dude. Okay. I haven't played in near 10 years. Want to make lands are a resource and not just mana. Out for 10 years and you come back to this. This is like watching Captain America come out of the ice and beg for a hit of ketamine. What the fuck are we doing, man? Just coming up out of the coma. I need a hit. Oh my god, are you guys itchy? I'm really fucking itchy, man. You have any fixing? I heard that you guys had good fixing. Are we in Chicago? I heard Chicago had really good fixing. Okay. Land mana fix. What in the holy hell is Riftstone Portal? What the fuck? That's actually totally appropriate. That's cute as fuck. So we have 40 lands total. They've just tagged their lands in a somewhat weird way. Bounce lands are not land sack, but that's real as hell of you. Okay, so we want to sacrifice lands. We have 40 lands total. We have built this land base, I'm presuming half out of our collection and half out of bong hits, but that's fine. Manifest Destiny. Oh, a basic. What do we even get for this? Oh no, dude. Alright, so you've picked the worst Nissa imaginable, which is very real and fair of you. Then we have a lot of... Dog, Edge of Autumn? What are we doing to Autumn? Okay, if you control 4 or fewer lands, get a land. Otherwise, you can cycle it by sacking a land. This... Okay. Hey. I get that we want to sacrifice lands any way we can. You are currently attempting to execute an oil change with your bare fucking hands. So this guy's good. This guy's good. This guy's great. Good, great, fine. I question what land you could possibly be looking for, but fine. And then Azusa's also fine. If we had... Mass triggers. Okay. There's definitely another Titania. Oh no. Oh god. Alright, I'm fine with the pocket bear, but let's move to the gross shit. So here are the 8 landfall triggers we presumably want to capitalize on most. I see you've kept up enough with the power creep to hop on the goddamn bandwagon. Proud of you, Clay. These are all good. These are all just good cards. So for vibe check on this being your go-to deck, we can talk about draw, we can talk about ramp, we can talk about whatever. These 8 cards are going to work. This is you bringing a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with the crust cut off to middle school lunch. Nobody's going to trade with you. Nobody's going to be like, oh my god, what's that? But like, you're not going to get bullied. This deck, this is the payoff section. This is so innocuous. This is the type of deck you use if you were planning to assassinate the president during a commander game. Because nobody is gonna fucking remember you. You are fucking faceless, dog. So if we're going for safe and faceless, type shit indeed. Playing with my trash. Oh, beautiful. Oh, double the landfalls. Oh. What can I get in this stream for $300? Sailor Goon, the price of an instant deck roast is $500. For $300, I will look at the title of your deck and give you a number 1 out of 10. It's not necessarily a rating. It's just the first number I think of that's associated with that deck title. Okay, good, solid, dope, fine, yes, indeed, fuck you. Stop that. All right, so here's our hater shit. This deck is actively giving me gastrointestinal distress, so I'm going to have to get up and go to the bathroom in just a moment here before I can talk about a single other card. This is responsible, and this is where I'm going to try to break your brain a little bit, Clay. It's not that I mind it, but it's also, do you know of the bracket system? Do you know of the bracket system? Do you know what power level you want to play at? Think about that. Wow. You've upset me. Okay, that was a uniquely horrible experience. Thank you, Clay, for that. Orphan Breakfast, Landfall can be below a 3. I don't want to get too deep into that, but it certainly can be. Bone Lord, where do you think my sink is, dog? Alright, so Clay, how powerful do we want this to be? This is an important question because I think Landfall mostly exists. Landfall no infinites is going to exist somewhere between WotC bracket 2 and WotC bracket 3. Like, it's always going to function, no matter what this is going to function. And if we want it to function at like goofier casual, I think what we're missing is big interaction. We're interacting in a small broke boy. We're like orphans stabbing each other in the kidneys, trying to figure out who gets to panhandle. When I know you said you're sacking lands. I know you said, hey, we're going to sack these lands for value. Isn't that going to be so cool? As soon as you say we get to play an additional land on each of our turn, and we get to turn those lands into card draw, and hey, we get to play lands out of our graveyard at some point, really, you have more money than everybody. You're just saying, hey, look, some of it's a greenhouse. Isn't that cool? And so you did say in your primer, we want to do something with Landfall that's not just, hey, I have more money than you. This curve is way too responsible for someone who is going to have more money than everybody else. Hi, baby, what's up? Like, there's probably a bunch of, not a bunch, but there's presumably a number of like, wow, a number of one-to-one swaps we can make that might be more effective. I'm trying to avoid infinites. I'm not against going stronger at the right table, but I don't know how hard is good for a random table I know no one at. Well, I guess, okay, then let me, if the point is we are unfamiliar with the game of other people, then let me ask you, for your ideal Commander experience, if you were going to have a game that you enjoyed, would you rather it is big and cinematic, or do you want it to feel more more competitive and tight and like fighting for every inch? Because the deck that you have right now kind of supports like, I'm going to do nothing until I play Avenger of Zendikar, and then I'm going to make you explode. And those type of decks, I think, are typically better supported by big, splashy interaction, because that power level of deck, it's like nothing on the way up is super worth holding up mana for, but it's definitely worth it to eventually spend like 8 mana on a one-sided board wipe. Because another problem is your win condition is just the word eventually in big neon lights. Because nothing we have is a threat by itself. Everything we have is a threat if you give it access to like 3 or more lands. It's like a white person. They need real estate. I used to play a Prosh Precon. I don't like the feeling of getting stuck doing nothing for 3 turns or getting stuck in a game for 2 hours. Okay. Okay, that's helpful. So we don't have to dump all of this interaction immediately. We do have to dump some of it on account of being stinky. Dawn Charm is crazy. Blessed Respite is also crazy, but a little bit clever. Let's talk about sacrificing lands for value. The pieces that can do it well. Titania will get value off this. We have Zurin Orb already, yeah. We have Quirion. Wow, it is fucking adorable how little this matters. We have Hermit Druid, Ripples of Undeath, Tiller Engine, Red Presence, Archdruid's Charm, Braids Arisen Nightmare. Okay, this is a great sack lands for value. Beautiful. Magnolia Queen X, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. Chris, I've already adopted you. Check your mailbox. Fauna Shaman's pretty decent. Let me see how this currently plays. We have Skewed Swarm, so we win. Okay, no. First of all, I'm just gonna say no. Just flatly, we gotta kill this baby. I don't care. We're tossing out I'm just tossing out specifically the baby, and we're gonna toss out a little bit of bathwater with it. Or you can keep this, but we should full proxy and full upgrade your land base to be better at fixing than it currently is. Because we somehow have 40 lands. We're committing... Wow. Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah, we can sack this shit to draw 1 card. Fuck yeah. I don't like that. Alright, great. So turn 1, we go get a Triumph. Turn 2, I'll just Forest Shigeki. Turn 3. These come out to field? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that sucks. All into the grave. Bam, Thalrog. Next turn. We Ramanap Excavator. Alright, so we have successfully spent the first 5 turns tripping over our own dick. What's up, Darebrand? I like the double duty for Delirium. Why in God's name are you worried about Delirium in an Abzan landfall deck, Brother Bear? What's happening up in that cranium? Daryl, thank you for the $5 super chat. I will talk about that in the next vamping section. Okay, so now it's turn 5. We've tapped all of these motherfuckers. We kill Boseiju to draw a card. We play Boseiju. We play this. We get Shigeki back out. Next turn. We can get Ancient Green Warden, who doesn't do anything yet. We're not quite to Emiria Shepherd. Well, I mean, shit, we're just getting Skewed Swarm. So we go and get... Oh, I pulled that to top. We go and get Skewed Swarm. We have 2 more mana. However, I will simply sack Boseiju to draw a card to play this in main phase 2. And we have a Heath in there. So then I play Skewed Swarm. Then I play Heath and make a copy of Skewed Swarm. This gets Lush... Oh my god, it actually... legal fetch target. So we end turn 6 up to 4 copies of Skewed Swarm. The table can now board wipe us, or they can fucking perish. This seems like generally fair behavior for bracket 2. So right now I think this is a solid vibe for I want to be completely inoffensive and I want to just make it work the whole time. Then we have Fauna Shaman. God, I hate this so much. I feel like I'm looking at I feel like I'm looking at somebody's potato salad recipe that was passed down by their grandma. I realize this is the gameplay loop you love very much, and all I can see is fucking mayonnaise. We have a Chroma's Will to eventually murder everything, but most of what we're on right now is we get to play 2 fetch lands a turn, and we get to play them from our graveyard, all of which are going to trigger Scute Swarm. So we can tap out for Green Warden if we want to double Scute Swarm even faster. I think the smart move is probably holding mana to unboard wipe ourselves. But really, we just Ancient Green Warden and say, what if twice? And then hold down X. I wish that it looped so that this bit would be appropriate, but just we fill the screen with Scute Swarms, then everybody dies. My main curiosity is, does the deck have anything to do other than get Scute Swarm and make everybody explode? I'm gonna make you keep this fucking unfixed hand to prove a goddamn point about all these silly ass lands you want to run. So we play this. Turn 2, we would get Perpetual Timepiece, mill 2. God damn it. Never mind, he's fixed. Fuck me. Stop. Give me the swamp. Then on our next turn, we go 1, 2, 3. All of these can stay on the grave. Nissa Vastwood Seer sucks. Incredible dog ass. And now we get Thalrog. We can play this, swing Thalrog, sack it, draw a card. So now we have access to that extra fixing. And now we get to just drop every land from our hand. And I'll Perpetual Timepiece mill as well. Well, that sucks. Next turn, this one, and this one all go into the fucking graveyard. So really all we're missing now is a way to play lands from our graveyard. But I do think that this playtest right here is... this is what we want Delirium for, is Traverse the Uvenwald. So maybe this can save us. We have instant, sorcery, creature, land. We do have Delirium, so we take this back. And then fucking... Oh, God. It's so correct and so gross. I'm not even going to... No, I will play Scute Swarm, because I play Scute Swarm, swing this, I sack this land, which gets a Plains onto the battlefield. There's my first copy of Scute Swarm. I get to draw a card. Is it a land? No, thank fuck. I War Room. Is it a land? Yes, I play a land. I'm up to 4 copies of Scute Swarm. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Okay. Dude, me when she skewed on my swarm. So I think I do believe you have achieved lands are a resource and not just mana. However, they are only a resource for additional Scute Swarms. I think the thing that is most disengaging about this deck is that the only thing it can terminate in is, or the only realistic thing it will terminate in, is I have Skewt Swarm, Green Sleeves, or Avenger of Zendikar, and then I play 5 lands in 1 turn. If that is your highest enthusiasm, please chase that, and I highly recommend you take up gardening. What I would love to suggest for you is any degree of big, expensive, silly cards, because those tend to make the world go round, and you have some stuff in here that kind of appears to be supporty, but is genuinely like pretty weak support. And I think that can be replaced with stuff that just like makes your heart happy, and you'll have an overall better time with this deck. You have a reliable win the game clause, which is very important for avoiding those pre-con jail games. You will get something that makes your board wider than God, bigger than God, or some combination thereof. It will make everybody sigh deeply, but that's okay. I'm not gonna say Craterhoof. I'm gonna say shit like I'm gonna say straight up goofy shit. Not this guy specifically, because you're gonna turn lands into creatures and not give them trample, and you want to sacrifice them anyway. But like, this is the type of shit I'm talking about. The Goo Man. Chaotic Order, thank you for the Prime sub for the 3rd month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Also, don't look at considering. Jesus Christ, man. Bro came up out of the ice and looked at 10 years of YouTube videos. It's just as everything that said, oh God, okay. So we went through a couple drafts, huh? We got 3 decks in here and none of them work. Yeah, it seems like the thing we're trying to get away from, it also depends on how, in a commander deck, we want some degree of consistency. We want to be sure that we're going to be allowed to execute our game plan. A question for you is, how much variance do you want within that degree of consistency? Because right now, you are that accountant who clocks into work every day and you have a ham and cheese sandwich, except on Wednesdays, it's a tuna salad sandwich for when you get freaky. Because everything you can do terminates in, I flood the board with tokens. And the deck right now looks like it plays at a power level that does have room for incredibly goofy bullshit. Also, Anthem of the World, thank you for gifting a sub to Claydog. Welcome back to Dog Heaven, my friend. And Time for a Seltzer, thank you for the 4 months in a row with that Prime sub. Because the thing we are ignoring is that we have so much money than everybody else. In a realistic game where we are allowed to set up the pieces of our deck that we want to set up, it is inescapable that we are going to be richer than them, and we're not utilizing it for any big, splashy, stupid dog shit. And so things like that are finishers are like Craterhoof, but there's other things like, I started typing it. Like, this is my favorite thing to cram into a deck anytime, because he's just such a big honkin' idiot. Yeah, like X spells are big dudes, and this is where, Clay, you get to inject a little bit of personality and a little bit of riz, because this is like, you are the faceless man with this section. You have built it well, but this is peanut butter and jelly sandwich all the way through. And so you don't have to play Valgavoth, you don't have to play Liege of the Tangle, but you definitely have space for probably 3 to 5 like big dumb assholes. And specifically, what I want to think about is, what can I put in this deck that would tempt me to search for it over Skewt Swarm when I cast Eladamri's Call? If you haven't been exposed to the bracket system yet, a big thing they talk about is like not having a ton of tutors, and you don't have a crazy amount of super strong ones, but you do have multiple creature tutors. And one thing that always makes me sad is if I ever have a deck and I put tutors in the deck and it always has one correct option. If there is like one thing that it is right for me to go for every time, and the tutor is always and forever just a second copy of that right card, that feels stale to me after a little bit. Now, if you don't get to play Commander very often, it may not feel that stale for you. For the dopamine, I like getting Nissa Resurgent and just gambling. God, of course. Okay, so if we like Nissa Resurgent and we like gambling, then maybe we can operate in big elemental territory. And I can attempt, we're gonna execute a personality graft right now. So we want Abzan elementals. I'm gonna say greater than or equal to 5 so that we start with the shitheads. We are gonna sort by EDH rec rank. Okay, there's Yargul and Multani. These, ooh, alright. How do you feel about Toy Story? Would you like to have a reason to practice saying the phrase, "There's a snake in your ass"? Because I love this guy. We've even seen decks where this was Secret Commander. Motherfuckers love Bane of Progress. My worry with Bane of Progress is that we have a lot of like backup cards that are artifacts. Dude, he rotten as fuck. So there's that stupid guy. There is another Titania who's useful for something. Saprolings or whatever. This is a big dumb stupid idiot. Embodiment of Insight is terminally whatever. Wow. You guys, I'm beginning to understand something. I think elementals might fucking suck. Okay, but like genuinely, what about this guy? Do you want to pick up your whole fucking deck? This is, I want to say, overcosted. Some people are going to go from overcosted to bad. The good thing about overcosted and bad is that you get to pay that price. Oh, Mork, you can't read. Oh no. Oh no, nobody can read. I'll wait. Thank you, Ninja. I'll wait. Your TikTok camera's a little too far to the right. Thank you, Time Knight. Yeah. Yeah, this is why it's so expensive. Yeah, big fucking asshole that will draw you 4 cards a turn cycle. So that's not, again, we're not talking about peak right here. We're talking about like Phyrexian Arena. Phyrexian Arena. So I think that's cute, but this is the type of, I mean, fucking diamond weapon, baby. That could do it. But if you want to be on elementals, this is a way to make Nissa gamble you into potentially fun elementals. But it doesn't even have to be this focused. It can literally just be like, oh, this thing costs $1 million goddamn dollars. I have $1 million goddamn dollars because my hot aunt left me a condo to rent out in Miami, and it's peak visiting season. Is there anything else that makes me... Ooh! You want to sack lands for value? What if you sacked lands for no good reason? What if we sacked lands for an 8/8? Let's talk about that for a minute. What if I just shot my own cock off for the most By the way, this is extra insulting. Everybody look at this. 5 mana green creature, 8/8, kill 3 of your own lands. Five mana, 8/8, trample and upside. God, I love old Magic cards, man. Any creatures that sack lands for damage? This one. Primeval Force right here. You could even like Bog Elemental, but really what Bog Elemental and Primeval Force are scratching is mostly what if I played Gitrog but badly? Because I do notice we don't have just the Gitrog monster in the deck, and that's presumably because you didn't want to go too hard. You could definitely also, I cannot impress upon you enough, fuck this Nissa. Alright, man? We gotta kill that Nissa with hammers. This is, you have it in the section of stuff that is otherwise totally usable, and it is just so maniacally okay. At minimum, what we want to replace it with is a card like this, which you may have just missed in your review of the 400 cards that say landfall on them. We'll get there. Yeah, so Claydog Gitrog has a infinite if you have Dakmor Salvage in hand. Basically, if you have a land in your hand that you can get back to your hand with Dredge, and you have more than 8 cards in hand and you discard to cleanup step, that is the end of turn stuff. If you're not trying to do that, it probably won't happen. But if you did, like, I would pick Dakmor or Gitrog and run that one. But anyway, here's just a good, totally normal card that would do you much better than Nissa, because we have a commander who's power 4, and so this either ramps you to the commander at a reasonable rate, or it super ramps you while sacrificing a land if you have your commander in play. So this is just a good everyman card, but most of what I'm going to charge you with is we must inject deeper Claydog personality into this list. You have showed me unseasoned mac and cheese that we used about half the packet on. I will applaud you on, despite being out of the game for 10 years. You've built a very functional deck. This is a safe deck. This is solid. I think you will be able to play games with it. You do have interaction. What I would recommend on the interaction side is looking into big, scary, fucked up, and evil board wipes. Like either Austere Command, if this wants to load, if somebody's like pillow forting you, if somebody's going like big stompy on you, yeah, this hits your commander. But if you have a board that's all Scute Swarms and you can't attack for some reason because like the crackback will get you, this just blows up all of the big shitheads. If somebody else is scuting you, this blows them up. But other like big scary, hey, I have $1 million and I'm going to use that $1 million to win the game concisely. Having 1 to 3 of those Having 1 to 3 of those is going to be useful for you. And then just look for things like Primeval Force or Rottenmouth Viper. If you can gamble into them with Nissa, glory. Otherwise, just big and expensive and makes you happy. Like, one of my favorites to put in a deck like this is the OG Elish Norn. So not the one that cares about ETBs, but we want something where by the time you have 7 mana to tap, we want you to tap 7 mana for something big, loud, and impressive. And Elish Norn is kind of like archetypal of that, because you lay her on the field and everybody goes, oh fuck. And then you get to win the game, because your Scute Swarms are 3/3s, everybody else's creatures are dead or are piddly dickheads who have been taken off their creatine pills. It's great. And so other shit like this you could do, I mean, I think really many of the other Praetors would do it. I think this Elish Norn is the best one for it. Right, answer this right now or I win the card, because we want more stuff that is, I play this and now I am scary, versus all the things you have in here are, I play this and if I have 3 land drops, I'm scary. Not every. Low power decks, which is what this is, and this is not derogatory. This is a low power deck in the context of you left out infinites on purpose. Low power decks really, really benefit from having a couple cards that say, I'm scary. I have spent money on this one thing, and this one thing is scary. Fuck you, respect my efforts. Versus these things that say like, okay, this is scary if 4 other things happen on my birthday and my grandma sent me enough money. Claydog, I love Mesmeric Orb. Some people hate it. That is very like table to table, because some people don't understand that being milled should be good. If being milled is really bad for your deck, it means you have failed as a deck builder. But some people aren't down with it. This is the type of card where I would keep, like, especially if you're in the context of, I only get to play Magic every once in a while and I do not want to upset the hoes. I would keep this card, and I would keep a different funny card that you can swap it out with, and just be like, hey y'all, are we okay with everybody being milled? Are we okay with everybody being milled? I'm not going to mill you out, but it turns out one of the best self-mill cards in the game is going to touch up on you a little bit. Are we fine with that? And if they are, run it. If they're not, just swap it out. Not every deck needs to run graveyard cards. Wolf, that is a good point. That is not necessarily what I meant by milling equals devastating being, meaning you'd failed as a deck builder. Not every deck needs to revolve around its graveyard or always seek to be on some like reanimator bullshit, but we are sort of overwhelmed with options for flashback, overwhelmed with options for things that care about something in graveyards, things that can get something back from graveyards. And so that is what I mean. It's that even if you aren't running a graveyard strategy, it is the easiest it's ever been and is only getting easier to have some sort of like tangential value you can pick up from a graveyard being full. Like, I think the a way Joe Cherry's put it that I was inclined to agree with was like a pretty solid test of deck building acumen is if you could start every commander game with the top 20 cards of your library in the graveyard, would you? And the answer to that should always be yes. There might be some sort of like extremely specific strategy that wants to not have it, and like there are of course the insane raccoons, the trash pandas, who want their whole deck to be in their graveyard so they can do a like reanimator bullshit combo. but it is like every single deck. If you could say, do I get 20 cards in the graveyard at the beginning of the game? You should be like, hell yes. Hell yes, immediately, no questions. Fuck, I would put 60 cards in the graveyard if they would let me. Found the Golgari player. Found the Golgari, motherfucker. Alright, so Clay, to return to the point at hand, I'm putting you dead center. This is entirely inoffensive aside from how dirty you are. It is nice and safe, but at some point we are gonna have to put your big boy pants on and you're gonna have to ask somebody else to dance at prom. And so I challenge you to find the big scary creatures you want to ask to prom, because I think it is safe enough that you have room to improve it with a little sauce. And so whatever that personal sauce is, I don't know if it's in the Wattpad fanfic that is this considering section. No, it's not. Okay. First of all, have better dreams. Second of all, utilize those dreams to then pick cool cards. This guy's good. I love this guy. Fuck you. You should play this guy. Unfortunately, six is one of the best green value engine cards that has ever been made. Retreat to Hagra is okay if we like standing very, very far away from people and shouting obscenities at them. Oh, put this in, by the way. This is the best card ever. Put this in. Put this on a copy of Scute Swarm and see how the table sweats, brother. But that is where I would take it. You are safe with this. Feel secure in that. Thank you very much for submitting. We're going to hit the manual ad break, and then we're going to move on to Chaotic Orders deck next. Sean on TikTok is asking, how much do you hate the Celeste persist loops? I genuinely, I don't mind them. The only thing that annoys me about the persist loops is the CEDH players who pretend like it's super fucking hot that there's a persist specific commander, and like it's not the same terminally okay Mardu shenanigans that they've always had access to. That is, I think, the only annoying stuff that I've ever seen with Celeste. It's like, oh, you have a combo engine in the command zone. Welcome to the family of every other color in the game. The thing that is annoying is people who are like, Mardu's fucking back, baby. Mardu is back in CEDH. Because of this, when Mardu's in the same position it's always been, which is you can absolutely sneak under a couple other decks by going turbo, but if somebody just like points at you with a gun, you fall over. Oh yeah, and Krark Timna is doing it better. Oh wait, not Krark Timna. I think Timna, I swear to God I've seen like Timna Rog. And like Timna Rog and Dahada. And so Mardu can still do it, like it could always do it. But Mardu is always just... they're just streaking, and they're hoping that nobody catches them. Oh yeah, Sean, that would be quite strong. Okay, and then we're almost out of the ad break. 5 minutes on the vamp clock. We have a random smasher pass from Big's Dog. Smash. Smash. We've all had that, Professor. Shut up. Personal question from Baconadier. What makes planeswalkers so detestable? Is it the repeatability of their abilities? Is it their extra health bar? I can't think of anything else that is hateable. There's a couple qualities that will be summed up in a hopefully funnier way when I make a video about it either later today or tomorrow morning. The first thing I dislike about them, they insist upon themselves. Yes, I am Peter Griffining you, but a very important thing in casual Magic is possession time. Of how much are we all yapping for, and one thing I really detest is when somebody has to yap for a really long time for a purely mechanical reason. I love yapping for fun, I love yapping for politics. I hate when we have to spend 5 to 10 minutes just breaking down the rules text of your card. And planeswalkers tend to remind you of their rules text every single fucking turn because you are always making a choice. Some planeswalkers are blessedly straightforward enough that there is only ever one ability you want to activate unless you are ulting, but unlike an upkeep effect or a main phase 1 effect that is just happening and you just like do the thing and maybe you say half a sentence to remind us, planeswalkers, we always have to watch you fail a pop quiz in main phase 1 of each of your turns. On top of that, the way planeswalkers typically work is they do nothing interesting until they practically win you the game on the spot. It would even be less offensive if they actually won you the game on the spot. What I find incredibly detestable is that they are just like highly, highly boring. And if they ever stop being highly, highly boring, it's because either they are dead or they have accrued a near game-winning advantage that you should not bother playing out, but maybe you should. And so, whenever they win, it doesn't feel like... It's never felt like I'm losing to a planeswalker because a big climactic battle has happened. When I lose to a planeswalker, it feels like I'm losing to paperwork. Like, it feels like bills are piling up. I'm getting murdered by traffic tickets. It's just like... It's worse than ping. It's worse than getting milled. It's worse than poison. Like, it's just so... There's one or two exceptions to that. I think, like, the Nebraska planeswalkers are a little bit more saucy to lose to. Also, Sudsball, to your point, I feel like that's a skill issue on commander players' parts. That is both true, and if something typically causes those skill issues to crop up, I still don't want to play with them. Yeah, I want to agree with you, but I feel like the difference between something like a Teferi and a powerful engine enchantment is one is easier to interact with, and it's not the enchantment. Right, but we're not discussing power. In fact, I think the fact that planeswalkers are weaker because they can be attacked down is part of why I don't like them. Because the only place they really see play is in lower power Magic, where the fact that they are boring becomes way worse. Lemonade, you are wrong. That is crazy, you are wrong. Personal question from Alec Man. Do you think infinites should be allowed to exist in this game? I'm not talking about rule 0, but I'm talking about going deeper, as if we could if we could correct the timeline, go back in time, shoot the first infinite in the head as a baby, and then we never have any of them. I think they have to exist. I think for this game to be able to do interesting things in card design, there have to be mechanics that are the constituent parts of an A plus B equals loop or A plus B equals C loops. They are, yeah, as Shayla's saying, they are a natural consequence of designing interesting cards. And so I prefer that they exist, and then I prefer that we rule 0 them out in certain levels of play, but they have to be there, because if we took the necessary steps for them not to be there, it's kind of like, yes, we could solve all war and suffering through never-ending, like, hyper-fascism, right, under some sort of perfect dictatorship. And then, okay, I will catch up on the Arden the Usurper question that we talked about earlier. For Demon Kindred, it's probably fine. I hate Kindred decks. And kind of the whole thing that Arden the Usurper does for you. Where my kiss? What the hell?
Yeah, he's closing you.
The whole thing that Arden the Usurper does for you is that they turn a full graveyard into a board full of menacing 5/5s with lifelink and haste. So you can't really go wrong with it because it also gives all of your demons keyword soup. I just generally don't like creature type theme decks. But if you want to do that, yes, Arden's fine for it. You should. Oh, okay. Here's the thing that was sticking out to me is this is a demon banner. If you are doing demon kindred rather than attempting to capitalize on the graveyard stuff, this is a banner for demons, and those you typically want to get out relatively quickly, but Arden is 8 mana. It is not impossible to turbo that out in black, but I think if you begin attempting to turbo out 8 mana in black rather than play the card game, this looks a lot like you dressed as Arden cackling in the corner about how they're all going to learn. Like, you can do Cabal Coffer stuff, you can do Crypt Ghast, you can bring in Black Ritual, you can bring in Throne of Eldraine, but if you have to get this guy out to make all of your demons pretty strong in the first place, that deck is probably not going to function. If you have a demon deck that can mostly function, and then this guy coming down in the late game is clutch, very cool. However, I'm not sure if that's real. Okay, we're going to move into the next roast, which is Chaotic Order. For everybody on TikTok, we are also streaming on YouTube and Twitch if you want your chat to be on screen. Oh, Daryl, Business Malt. We have a $5 super chat from Daryl about tips for using Moxfield. For phone, I just wouldn't attempt to deck build on the phone. If I'm ever doing stuff for deck building on the phone, the only thing I am using is Scryfall and the Notes app. Do not use Moxfield. For desktop, I'm not sure what parts of it feel clunky that any online deck builder can fix. Because it feels relatively easy to add cards, or at least as easy to add cards in Moxfield as they would be on any other platform. I like their playtester more than any other playtester. If that is the part that feels clunky, I would just check out other deck building websites to see if those feel more intuitive. Okay, then we have from Mr. Burcutti, or Mick Burcuti. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Hey Mald, any tips around how to build around a secret commander? I'm having trouble with the concept. I think I'm gonna assume you're asking about a general secret commander rather than one specific secret commander. For the most part, don't. I have seen a few of these that are successful. 90% of them are failures mechanically and failures thematically. I think it is fine to have a deck where you go like, oh, this is my very favorite synergy piece, and if I can get it every time, hell yeah. There is a shift in mindset between that and having like a secret commander where people convince themselves it's fine for the deck to not fucking work until the secret commander gets played, and as soon as you make that transition, you are fucking cooked, because we've taken the point of the format, which is if you have a card that you need to make the deck work, if you need Metamucil to make your shitties go, you get Metamucil for free at the beginning of every day. That is the purpose of this format. And then if you take that and go, well, what if I hid Metamucil inside the peanut butter jar so I could surprise my friends with the diarrhea whenever I wanted? We have lost the plot at that point. So the short answer is fill that deck with every fucking tutor you can justify. The long answer is don't like secret commanders. Wait, I think I said a shorter thing for the long answer. Hold on. Oh yeah, like Rocco's an exception. If you're command zone tutors, like if you do, but you haven't seen my secret commander deck. I run Varigoth, Blood Sky Sire, and my secret commander is... I can't hear fucking anything you said after that. Yeah, you have a tutor in the command zone, you fucking dickhead. What are you talking about? I think, really to sum it up, most of the time when people make a secret commander deck, the reason they are doing it is from a desire to feel clever. And wanting to feel clever is not an urge you should be attempting to satisfy at a casual commander table in your gameplay mechanics. I think that is a urge you should attempt to satisfy in maybe your like politicking, maybe the jokes you say as part of your play pattern, but your mechanical play pattern should not be an attempt to convince your play group that you are clever. Okay. It's time for chaotic order. This is a silly deck. I'm the questions man. I come out, proud of you, I ask the table a question, and I revel in the consequences of your own actions. This is my very silly, weird group slug / control list. Oh, the headaches are back. I modeled the deck after one of my favorite cards, Browbeat. I'm trying to emulate the feeling of being stuck between a rock and a hard place for my opponents, so all of my cards should ask a question to my opponents, with each of these options being bad. I've never won a game, but it is always fun. 1 second. TikTok's attempting to close my stream. But it's always a blast, and I love fucking with my opponent's mental. The best part is that technically, none of it is my fault. You only have yourself to blame for your own decisions. Okay, well, the 1 hour philosophy debate can happen after we talk about the deck itself, the Veil Yard. So if they would face a villainous choice, they face that choice an additional time. So man, somebody did not get that high school theater part, huh? And we're just making it everyone else's problem. Okay, so while voting, you may vote an additional choice. Loud buzzer noise, incorrect. I see this is the part where we go, you haven't chosen what I want, and so now I'm going to force you to do the thing I wanted you to do. You have a very bright future as a dungeon master, my friend. So we have a little bit of card removal. Notably, it is not like kill or exile removal. Choices. During each player's upkeep, if that player has less life than target opponent, he or she may have Oath of Mages deal 1 damage to that opponent. Okay, so fake choice. Right? Fake choice 1. Fate Spinner. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player... Oh, they choose 1 to skip. Yeah, alright. This is hateful and bullshit. Whenever the 3/2 with Menace attacks, choose up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller may sacrifice it. If they don't, Star Athlete deals 5. So, yeah, hell yeah. That's fine. No, we'll get there. No. We've talked Catalyst. We've covered. This deck won't win. Each opponent faces a villainous choice. This one's good. You get to rob people, or they take possibly a ton of damage. Midnight Crusader Shuttle. Whenever this attacks, defending player faces a villainous choice. That player sacks a creature, or you gain control of something of theirs until the end of turn. If you take a creature this way, it attacks its owner. Okay. Sycorax Commander. Villainous choice. Opponent discards everything, or they take damage equal to cards in hand. And then expropriate. So let us examine for just a brief, fleeting moment the difference in what we're doing between Star Athlete and Expropriate. And I think this, honestly, this truly exemplifies the problem with picking rote mechanical themes as what we cleave to. It does fit. Again, like, I'm not saying it doesn't fit, but I'm saying, like, I could make a deck with the theme, they all have blue in them. And then I could put Expropriate in, and I could say it fits. When the theme is something so broad as my opponent's vote, it creates what to me is a truly disgusting degree of variance between 3/2 that nobody cares about and 9 mana spell that should win me the game. Now, because this is so expensive, we can ignore it a little. General support versus synergy. Yeah. Crazy interesting choice. I like how all of the general support is please do not hit me. Please. What if I gave you a choice between not hitting me and hitting somebody who wasn't me? Keep it or lose it. That's so bad. That's so bad. Okay, so counter or copy. So there's some cute stuff in here. Destroy all Are you fucking serious right now? Are we fucking serious? Destroy all creatures. Destroy all creatures unless a player has breaking point deals 6 damage to him or her. Creatures destroyed this way cannot be regenerated. So this is, I bomb all of our houses unless one of you chooses to get a paper cut. Okay. This is brainworms all the way through. Starting with you, each player votes for sickness or psychosis. If sickness gets more votes, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. If psychosis gets more, each opponent discards 2. Sure, I could see this one coming through. No, Houdini. You don't target a player. This is if anybody chooses to take the 6, nobody gets blown up. All right. Carnage or Homage. If Carnage gets more votes, we board wipe. If Homage gets more votes, draw a card. I like this one. Holy shit, something that's actually going to develop us or contribute to our game plan. Starting with you, each player votes for death or taxes, sacks a creature for each death, and discards a card for each taxes vote. Choice of damnations, often held up, is somewhat funny. Target opponent chooses a number. They either lose life or sack a shitload of permanents. You could retitle this deck, Why Won't People Play Jackbox With Me Anymore? There's no Ristic. They notably said there was only one game changer, which was Expropriate, and I believe they knew at that moment they were lying through their fucking teeth. Emotionally. So we have Fish, we have Palantir of Orthanc. I like Sinprodder. Then we have Browbeat. Any player may have Browbeat deal 5 damage to him or her. If no one does, target player draws 3 cards. We gotta be playing a 10 life format. We gotta be playing a 10 life format if this is our fucking, if this is this is our clutch card. It is funny. It is mostly funny in the context of what group of idiots would I have to get together to have them pick draw 3. What's Risk Factor up to? Oh, it's Browbeat, but Jumpstart. Okay. Of course you have Soul Ring. I don't know why I expected any better of you. Painful decisions. Notably not a decision. Notably not a decision. Notably not a decision. But it's to make the decisions more painful, which... Okay. Okay. General support. I cast Expropriate for 3 mana. Only fucking outlet. Only fucking outlet we have. Order, I love you. This deck screams to me. What if I was really bad at politicking? Everything you want this deck to do can be achieved by just being a little bit of a trickster with your wordplay. So let me see how it actually plays out. Of course we get Soul Ring. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? Next turn. Can we just cast our commander yet? I think we can. Yeah, red, blue, 2? Fuck yeah. We have the Veil Yard out. We have the Veil Yard out turn 2. Alright, we get Manifold Insights. So we reveal 10. And then we have opponents pick which ones go to our hand, which ones go, do they go bottom or do they go graveyard? Rest go bottom. So each opponent chooses a different non-land card. I like this. This is a really great way to demand a lot of attention from your friends who have otherwise not been replying to your text messages. This just reads, get the worst 3 non-lands of the top 10 cards. Correct, but that is like... But you can make deals here. There's room to be sneaky here. Because you could argue... You could certainly make arguments for, hey, if you give me Hunted by the Family, I'll pick creatures that aren't yours. There's a world where this is a... there's a world where this is you being silly. Collective Restraint, I think probably is nobody is giving you, and I think genuinely, I think the story of this deck is told by the fact that most of the support we have are cards that say, please stop bullying me. Why are you all bullying me so intensely? I don't think anybody would give us that. I think they would just give us, like, the Mana Rock and the damage doubler. And again, like, we can argue for Hunted by the Family. Right, Chaotic Order. I know what it is. Those are bad words. Like, you may as well have typed, yeah, I'm a dickhead. I don't think you understand. I'm a gross little boy. So maybe we get these 3. It's also like definitely not control. I think you why are we not moving all three of these? There we go. Because we have, oh my god, the worst bounce land ever is here. Amazing. Because we shit out mana. Who cares? We shit out mana. We have 2 lands. We didn't get to vote on this. So we can make somebody like, boom, lose 10. I'm so evil. This is giving me D&D character who only plays rogues. So somebody takes 10 because they face a villainous choice twice, or maybe they like have a token or something. We can hide away 4. We will put Blasphemous Edict under this shit. We have been beaten to death at this point furiously, but who cares? We put Blasphemous Edict under this shit. We play Exquisite Blood, and the whole table turns to hit us with hammers. Okay, we can Palantir of Orthanc, and now we are the shitty cackling wizard. Put an influence counter, scry 2. Great, temporal extortion. I'll put that on top and... well, no, I will do that. And I will hope that they're like, oh yeah, mill 1, because it's the first one. And then our next turn... It's turn 8, we have achieved... It's turn 8, we have put 10 damage into this table. We have run up the shot clock. We could have played Furnace of Wrath, although I do think the direct result of playing Furnace of Wrath is that we explode because everybody hits us. And then we put Temporal Extortion on the stack. Somebody pays 10 life. Somebody pays half of like however much. Know what? Fuck it. They let it resolve. We put the choice to them. Nobody pays. We get an extra turn. I hesitate to believe we even have these 2 cards in hand to wheel away because we probably use them on something that is blowing the fuck out of us, and we give them the choice of what if you stopped hitting me or I cry loudly. And maybe like this would be out of our hand too if I don't even fucking know why. I'm bouncing this to my hand. Blasphemous Edict. You know what? Fuck it. We broke the rules of Magic and we got to cast this at some point. I'm gonna re-hide away and I'm gonna hope to God something. Hell yeah, browbeat's here, baby. It's browbeating time. We cast that this turn, and now I believe we have achieved what the deck wants to do, which is it's turn 10. We have a damage doubler in play. Life totals are hopefully low, and we now get to say, okay, do any of you wish to take 10, or do I get to draw 3? This is a point where the choice is probably tense. And I think where the brainworm has gotten us order, you somehow managed to hit every mana rock in my deck. I'm very good at the game. Don't worry about it. So this interaction I kind of like. Broad spectrum, what I dislike about the deck is I think that 95% of the choices you offer don't matter. And that type of gameplay pattern can be loosely translated as to being really fucking annoying. When you can offer choices that are meaningful, I think that's dope. But rather than build a deck that is based around forcing people to have meaningful choices, you have just built a deck where we're like, is the word choice on here over and over and over? And I'm going to pull out the dead horse that I beat every single day. But one of the reasons I love the Buster Sword is that this card presents people with an interesting choice. We merely have to expand our definition of choice from cards that specifically make you vote to cards that present you with a dilemma. That is the feeling it seems like we are chasing here. And the issue is that most of the voting cards in the hit card game Magic the Gathering have to be really fucking bad, which leaves you in the place that we saw in that playtest where 90% of what you do, it is just like snap choice, whatever, yeah, take the damage, who cares? Because we don't do imposing enough things to actually enforce our will. And notably, like, the best things we could have done in this playtest is the shit that has nothing to do with the voting mechanic. Now, Palantir of Orthanc, this can create an interesting choice. Unfortunately, most of the times I've seen the Palantir resolved in Commander games, it is you get to draw 2 cards, and then after there's the 3rd influence counter on Palantir, nobody takes the damage anymore. And so I think we have tunneled too heavily onto rules text and not heavily enough onto what creates the vibes of people making interesting choices. Because the detractors of Buster Sword will point out, oh, lack of protection, lack of evasion. I think that makes it a more interesting choice card because it forces the people to choose between their creatures and me getting crazy bullshit. See, I think the protection racket, painful quandary, captive audience, gifts ungiven, I think that stuff is also the wrong direction to go. It is a much more murky and amorphous thing. Right, again, please, let's not get too, I'm using the Buster Sword as a poster child for a different concept that I'm trying to talk about. I'm not saying, oh, this deck would be great with the Buster Sword. I'm saying that the Buster Sword is an example of cards that present people with an interesting choice despite not having the word vote anywhere on the card. And I think that you need more of those. This deck reads to me as I talk a lot, the Commander deck. And I love talking. Everybody in my life would say that I talk too much, and I am on a never-ending quest to justify why I am talking by having that talking be silly. Versus this deck is like, I talk a lot, something bad always happens to you, and I always lose the game. It's like we've taken the play pattern of an infect deck and was like, the problem with that is that it was not slow enough. Yeah, as Jay points out, it's the same type of choice that like Ansrag can present, which obviously you can't run this because this isn't a Gruul deck. Or like another good example would be if you have what is it's like the Axe Murderer card that kills half your life. I mean, Kuzarigama with big beaters is another example of an interesting choice. Unstoppable Slasher. So there's Unstoppable Slasher, and if you had Unstoppable Slasher equipped with an Infiltration Lens, that is an interesting choice. Do you want to lose? I mean, it's not super interesting. Um, do you want to lose half your life, or do you want me to draw 2 cards? DMC, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. I'm not convinced that is the realm we want to be in. But I appreciate the contribution to the dog pile. I mean, winning with the deck is great. I hate it. This is like mustard seed. You have served me mustard seed on a banana peel, because we are what's the right word for this? Playtesting this deck and imagining playing against this deck feels like playing in a D&D session with a dungeon master who really wanted to write a Wattpad fanfic instead of running a D&D campaign, but is trying to force it through on the D&D campaign anyway. And so I think there are elements of the deck that do work. DMC, thank you for the extra 100 bits. Something like Dimir Cut Purse. Yeah, like this presents a more interesting choice than every card in your deck. Because the other thing that's happening with this deck is we're playing at low power, and we are recusing ourselves from the table, which is always weird for me. I think trying to, except for when we step in as the announcer from Deal or No Deal. And so I can see the vision, and I can identify with the vision, and I think we have let the brainworm eat too much of our head, where we focus too much on, does this card say choice on it, or does the card actually present an interesting choice? Because there are some crossover events that are awesome. Like Ensnared by the Mara. This is a card that says villainous choice on it, and I've seen this card resolved. That's a genuinely interesting choice. I even think the Midnight Crusader shuttle, because they really tried to make the choice stuff work in Who, this can be a very interesting choice for the Stompy player. Stuff like Fate Spinner, I think this is where the boundary begins to blur for me. And I do understand we want it to always be bad, but Fate Spinner feels a lot like I'm sticking my finger in your yogurt and mixing it up just for the sake of messing with you. Or maybe Fate Spinner is Fate Spinner is probably the bad example for this, because it is at least an interesting choice. But like Oath of Mages, what the fuck? This isn't a choice. This says May on it, but everybody's pushing the damage rate. Who the fuck is not choosing 1? Like, Seekerax is a choice that technically moves the game forward. DMC, thank you for the additional 100. Oh yeah, like this is great. This is awesome, and this even says choice on it, so this should satisfy the earthworm that's eaten all of your brainstem. Yeah, there's permanents that move around as you use them. There's some group hug stuff like Tempting Contract. There is Rakdos, Patron of Chaos, which is also a choice. And this is at least a choice that's a little more threatening. Because non-land, non-token, like this is, holy fuck, a good card is going to touch this, is going to touch the deck for once. But yeah, like I think the... The fact that the general support section is full of random bullshit go is a really big red flag in my opinion. Like, there's not a clear through line here other than holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck, how do I stay alive long enough to do my bit? And I think if you were presenting people... If we're presenting people with interesting choices, we should not require this much of this. If the... Because here's the thing, we are 100% never the threat. There's no fucking way we are ever the threat at this table. And so if we are not the threat, the fact that we are getting murdered immediately means that everybody hates what we're doing so much that they seek to fill us with hammers rather than handle whoever's the actually threatening person. And so what that says to me is not we're a supervillain, it says we're not giving them the interesting choices that we seek. Because if you're giving them meaningful choices, or if we are messing with the table in a like meaningful way, people will keep you around to mess with other people. Like there was a Deadpool, okay, perfect example of this. There was a Deadpool deck I played against where the first thing they did was some type of like sacrifice reanimate shenanigans to get like 3 Deadpools out back to back to back and like snip the balls of every creature that had been committed to the board. And so immediately we went like, oh, okay, we're gonna fucking kill you, man. That's super fucking all right. We're gonna kill you with hammers now. You're the bad guy. After like 2 turns of that, no, this is not a Deadpool deck, Jomi. Don't everybody, when I say a card, let us accept I am not talking about the card itself. I am talking about what the card represents. After like 2 turns of that, I had stuck a bunch of like super helpful permanents, and so even though everybody was still annoyed at the Deadpool deck, I became the problem again, or I became the problem, and everybody immediately went like, oh shit, Deadpool player, we want you back on your reanimator game plan to snip 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 all of Mald's good cards. How can we work together to do that? And I'm not saying that everybody has to love you the whole game, but I think that if you are presenting meaningful interaction, that is the type of villain like you want to be part of the Suicide Squad. You don't want to be the guy who gets shot in the cold open of every superhero movie. You want to be the detestable, stinky, no good piece of shit that people are sometimes forced to work with because it's in their best interest. And let's see, Library of Latinam. Target opponent chooses 1, you draw 3 cards, or you search your library for a card and then shuffle. I mean, the thing is, I disagree. I don't think this is in... This card, and many of the cards that are currently in this deck, read to me as, what Fortnite dance do you want me to do when I score a touchdown? Which is not an emotion we want to evoke if we're playing at a commander table where we want to survive or have fun. Now, like, maybe Wandering Archaic can get something doing, but genuinely, if you like it, I'm happy for you. This deck makes me sick to my motherfucking stomach. This is... This is us doing stone cold nothing, but demanding attention. Okay, so Maze of Ith was on... Oh, of course we have Maze of Ith. Of course we have another way to go back on our word about being the question man and just be like, oh, actually, please stop doing mean things to me. Please stop doing mean things to me. So I think the first place that would be the way I would attempt to build this deck is from a place of I am the question man. If I am doing a good job of being the question man, I do not need propaganda. If I require propaganda, it means I have been fired from my position as the host of Deal or No Deal. If I require exquisite blood to stay alive long enough to do any of my funny things, I have been fired from my position as host of America's Funniest Home Commander Turns. And I would try to work from the perspective of Buster Sword or maybe Rakdos Patron of Chaos, but I would work from the position of like Ensnared by the Mara, Midnight Crusader Shuttle, things that make people feel like they have agency when they're making the choices. Parnes could do it. I don't think it's totally necessary. But yeah, like I do like coercive. I like some of the cards in here, and what I think would genuinely help a lot is if we did not go so deep on every card in this deck has to say blank. As soon as a deck is governed by every card in the deck should say blank on it, you're basically a Republican. You're doing identity politics in your commander deck building, and it is going to fail you. What I think would help this deck a lot is a way to participate in the game such that the choices mattered more, versus just being somebody who was doing a Snidely Whiplash monologue in between beatings. And so a lot of the stuff that right now is a really weak choice, like Oath of Mages is a tremendously weak choice. Star Athlete is a tremendously weak choice. Temporal Extortion, I think, like, gets weaker as the game goes on. But like Trial of Agony, stupendously weak choice. But there are some choices that are really quite good. Like Coercive Portal basically reads, I get to draw a card every upkeep, and if I'm double voting with my commander, maybe I can push us towards a board wipe whenever I wanted. Bite of the Black Rose, this can be interesting and makes everybody really fucking angry. Like Sadistic Shell Game is awesome. But what I would much rather do is like copy or recur the really good choice cards versus just trying to make everything a different choice card, because eventually we end up in a PowerPoint night situation of here are all the different commander cards that say choose on them. And so I'm like half with the idea. The way it's built, I think, betrays the extreme punchability of your game plan. And you gotta kill the fish. And so if we replaced a lot of these bad choices with stuff that could just like help you win, or stuff that could help you repeat like the really saucy choice cards, I would like that much more. So for now, I'm gonna put you down in this jail. Although I will say you're living up to your name for sure. So thank you very much for the submission. I wish you the best of luck with making this horrid game plan work. I'm gonna hit the manual ad break, and then it's gonna be time for Rice Quinn if you are around. And we're gonna put 5 more minutes on the vamp clock. We are back. We are in a mild amount of hell. Benjamin, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. Educated Fool, thank you for the 20-bit message effect. Boss, thanks for the roast on Sunday. I tested the updates to my Shiko and Narset deck with my pod, and while I am still the villain, I am now a super one. I am very glad to hear that, Fool. I hope it goes well for you. Legend of Zelda, thank you for the Prime sub as well. We're going to go to 5 minutes on the vamp clock, and then we're looking for Rice Quinn. If Rice Quinn is not here, Freeze, if you are still here, you will go next. Manual ad break has been done. Maul, did you already say anything about the New York Dem primaries, or is that too local? LOL. I don't think it's too local because I've seen like shorts and shit about the. There's some Muslim guy they're trying to paint as like an anti-Semite because he's not a Zionist. Yeah, that guy rocks. That's all I have to say about it. I know of no other candidates. All I know is that one candidate who is Muslim and they keep trying to hit him as being like an anti-Semite because he's against genocide. He won? Fuck yeah. That's how I feel about it. Hell yeah. Good for him. What keyword do you think is the most frustrating / difficult to deal with? um Cop-out answer, ninjutsu. Because ninjutsu as a keyword, we have extremely few ninjas who are worth ninjutsuing out, but we have a few ninjutsu commanders who have just ruined the fucking mechanic for us. Like, old Satoru and Yuriko have just made it like so overwhelmingly awful to play into a ninja deck that it's ruined it for the rest of us who just want to put in like a 3/2 with lifelink. And then personal question from Dragoon, do you watch WWE, and if so, who is your favorite wrestler? If not, that's fine. I don't watch WWE because I prefer anime. Having cooler fight scenes just got me. Like, I do understand and respect that WWE and anime are the exact same thing. One is just live action. However, I saw anime first, and after I had seen motherfuckers like leaping into the air and flying and shooting energy beams, two sweaty guys pretending to clothesline one another just did not hit hard enough, even though I do respect the bits. Rant about gender norms being dog shit. I could have tried skirts years ago, and I'm only trying them at 24. Oh god, okay. We only have 2 minutes, but yeah. I'm trying to compress my mental Rolodex on all of the bullshit we're told about being boys or being girls. Like, the greatest thing you can understand about gender norms is every single thing we are told about gender from the moment we get out of the womb is used to bully us. And if that does not tell you everything you need to learn about gender as a concept, you are not looking closely enough. Like, every single thing that people are told about being like a good little boy or a good little girl, or you're not being man enough, or you're not being woman enough. Like, running like a girl was an insult when I was young. Running like a boy was an insult if you were a girl. Every single fucking thing, every time our gender is brought up when we are young, it is used to bully us into social conformity. The entire thing is fuckery. It's all fuckery. It is just a control mechanism used by whoever was above you to make you comply with what they wanted to do. This was either your parents or a sports teacher or your peers, but it is universally, gender norms are used to try to harm you mentally. And the people that crash out about it are typically the people who have been told they're not being man enough, and they're like, nothing can hurt me because I'm a big, strong, angry man. And that's you bullying yourself. So yeah, fucking every single gender norm can get out of here. It's all bullshit. Anybody can do anything. Anybody can do anything. Who cares? Oh yeah, and we gotta stop the vamp clock. Oh, some goad commanders. Baked. I'm not. Oh, I'm not sure. The thing is, a good goad commander is probably just a good commander that involves the colors black, red, and something else. There's plenty of commanders that say goad on them. I think if your commander says goad on it, it is probably a worse goad commander than something else. Mainly because what a goad deck is lacking and what a goad deck always needs is a way to try and guarantee that it will win the 1v1 or that it will have something to do if other people have not played good creatures yet. And so if you're throwing out stuff like Kaima, Hardur, even Marisi, or like Corona, or Slicer, or Alexios, I broadly hate those goad decks because you could be replaced by ChatGPT and nobody would be any the wiser. I think the good goad decks are much like the difference between the deck we just looked at and a deck that is presenting true, interesting choices. If you have a commander that can establish value for you and gives you the colors and some sort of like asymmetry in which getting goad can be really powerful, like, you know what? This is, again, cop out because the commander's just so strong. This is what I would believe in as a goad deck. Oh, I guarantee that I'm drawing a card off of each turn and that it's not going to be because of me. Like, that's the type of thing I would believe in. But Y'shtola I believe in for literally anything. Because Y'shtola is just such a strong Esper commander, and that's why I say it's a cop-out. Bone Lord, thank you for the update. Went to my LGS yesterday and talked to the guys, and you were right, it wasn't bullying, but I did become that guy in a series of 3 games. So I'm trying my best to detach myself from an ass whooping due to good play from these guys are being dicks. However, I've got work to do because I became that guy and stole a win with overwhelming splendor and promptly got revenge killed the next game. But I'm doing better, and thanks for the chat the other day. Thank you so much, Bone Lord. I will ask your permission on this. I kind of wanted to clip that whole like 10-minute thing as a standalone YouTube video because I think it's a really valuable experience to teach people about the difference between I'm getting shit on and I'm actually just Gojo or I'm Sukuna and they're ganging up with me like that. Are you okay with having that republished as a YouTube? Go for it? Awesome. Thank you. I'll talk to my editor about that after this stream. I'm very glad that it is getting better, and yeah, just keep doing your best and it's hard to internalize, but just internalize, like, I think the way I just said it is the best way is every commander game, you either want to be Gojo or you want to be Sukuna. And it's fine to be Sukuna and get killed because everybody jumps you because you were still that fucking guy. You had that shit on. You had the 4 arms. You had a selfless lackey by your side. Amazing. Can't be mad at that. But great. And then, hey, thank you, Mason, on TikTok. Freeze, I think we're gonna do you next because I don't see Rice Quinn. And then Rice Quinn, if you are here and I've been missing you, maybe your name has been in a color that I am colorblind to. Please let me know. Otherwise, Freezy, it's your time. Terrence, yeah, the TikTok stream is still live somehow. It's amazing. And then Fleecy, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. I have my Diet Dr. Pepper as a treat drink, and I'm very, very happy. I've also, this is not Vamp Mall, this is Business Mall, trying to give Rice Quinn time to sound off in chat. I've been trying a new protein powder, and I think the devil's in that shit. because every day it makes me a little bit nauseous, and I just, you know, I do the manly thing and I call myself a bitch and I drink it down and then I go to the gym. And now that I've been having it for like, I think it's been like 5 to 7 days. These farts are letting the devil out, you guys. I don't know what is getting synthesized in my abdomen, but it is either penicillin or weapons grade uranium. Am I holding myself back by liking Kindred decks? I try to do interesting things, but there's a certain amount of this card says bat on it that is unavoidable. I normally try to sugarcoat this, but yes, your racism is holding you back, or more specifically, your speciesism. The only interesting thing about a Kindred deck is where you decide to break the Kindred rule for. I've seen a lot of Kindred decks, and I've seen a lot of decks where it's all, oh, this says bird on it, this says lizard on it, whatever. And inevitably, a lot of people will be like, oh, but I broke it for like this card. And sometimes people break it for dumb reasons like Roaming Throne, but sometimes people break it for interesting reasons. They go like, oh, this is a core mechanic that my creature type really, really likes. And so I put this in even though it's not of the creature type because it holds it together mechanically. And that is the type of thing that I consider a real vibe. Is I like what most of this creature type is doing. I'm going to take the good ones and I'm going to combine them with other things that support them mechanically, and that is how you get a pseudo Kindred deck that approaches interesting. I've never seen a true Kindred deck that I was like, oh, this is cool. I have seen a couple Kindred decks where it's like the skeleton is this one creature type and then some support for that creature type. That tends to fall flat once it's like elves or merfolk, because that's just straight up good. But in general, yes, I think doing Kindred decks, I've never been personally drawn to it, and I think it's generally a mistake. My elf ball deck has a couple hydras in it. Isn't that neat? Myth, that's so cool and based of you. Alright, there's okay, we're gonna do freeze, because I do not see Rice Quinn. This is a spooky deck. Primer is in Moxfield. Oh god, a second control deck is hitting the stream. This is intended to be a Grixis control deck that I pull out when other people are being rude. This cannot be how we're controlling behavior in the year of our Lord 2025. We cannot be going, I really don't like how you're acting, son, and so instead of having a conversation with you about your behavior, I'm going to go ahead and counterspell you. Now hand me that talking stick. We're going to pass it to Timmy, who you were very rude to until you apologize. Alright, a trip that's fun for the whole family. Grixis Land offers a one-of-a-kind experience. Kill your own creatures, your friends' creatures, counterspell, don't let things untap. You can do a ton of shit that will make everybody mad. Some of you may die, and that makes me happy. $4,000, presumably from the land base. 25,000 acres of fun. Congratulations on opening this out of a booster pack. Okay, no, mistag. I'm not gonna freak out. Obvious mistag. Obvious mistag. And that concludes our tour. No questions necessary. Okay. I'll take a pause on our guided tour of how Freeze deals with confrontation to point out I like these. I think in bracket 3, an escape valve, an escape hatch, it's a necessary part of any submarine tour. Casualties are necessary for family fun. Field of the Dead is honestly inappropriately responsible for what you're going to be doing with Angelo. We smoked a lot of crack before we put this card in, huh? Third card every turn? Did you win a draft night with this one time, Freeze? Alright, so third card in a turn. I'm only pointing this one out because otherwise it is I get one every turn. I get one every time I cast a spell. I get one every time I play a land. I bring this guy back infinitely. I get one every time I play a land. I only function if you find like 50 loose dollar bills. Casualty draw 2 equals 4. There it is. There's the one-off interaction. Okay, how many draw 2 spells do we have? If the sub-theme of the deck is I draw 2 by casualtying Sneaky Snacker, that's fine for Sneaky Snacker and devastating for the rest of the deck. Don't piss off the tour guide. That's funny as fuck. Don't touch the merchandise. Real, but also we must have more interaction hidden in a bunker somewhere under a different tag. Even more fun. Oh god. Sure, yeah. Sure. Finances. Sure. First time visitor discount. Gotta pay the admissions fee. That's cute. I sacrifice Sneaky Snacker to casualty opt to draw 2 cards and return Sneaky Snacker to the battlefield. Gotta be the most Weenie Hut Jr. line I have ever heard of in my fucking life, brother. This is the type of shit they teach like middle school basketball teams at the YMCA. Village Rites I like more. Deadly Dispute I like more. This looks like it is in here because it can be used with Sneaky Snacker, not because it's actually like good and or like I guess really it's no matter how many times we beat Sneaky Snacker to death and reanimate their body Weekend at Bernie's style. You cannot convince me casting Stock Up is not infinitely more powerful. But it is cute, and so if Opt is where you extract most of the dopamine in this deck, hell yeah. Otherwise, I think this is like the popper tech tricked you. No, we did not repeat part of the tour. Okay, so we can get instants and sorceries back. We can recast them. Security for unruly guests. All right, we can murder, bounce. We can give them erectile dysfunction. We can murder. It is important to note, all of these removals is like, we double dip them. And so the interaction can look low, but as long as our card draw is high and our recursion is high, the interaction looking low is like, we have twice as many soul shatters as it looks like we have. We have twice as many make an examples. Yada, yada, yada. This is evil. No secrets between friends. See, like this is the type of cantrip where I'm with you, because hand information, great. Like if we want to, especially if this is meant to be a punishment deck. If this is meant to be a punishment deck, looking at the hand of the guy who's being a dickhead and then telling everybody else what's in their hand, beautiful interaction. This is just punishing people for them sitting down. I'm more on Siphon Mind than I am on Arterial Flow. Freeze, I guess an important distinction, is this a deck where you are trying to punish a bad actor, or you are trying to meet them where they're at and also be a bad actor? Because like Siphon Mind, you go way up on cards. This is insane to casualty. Arterial Flow is you going, what if I had a slightly worse time so that everybody could have a really, really bad time? Versus, because some of these look like I'm gonna be the anti-hero, right? I'm gonna be fucking Batman, and I'm gonna go, villains punish villains. That tells me nothing. Villains punish villains, and so to stop the Joker, I'm going to carpet bomb Gotham. I think Fire Covenant is cute. One thing I am perturbed by is I genuinely don't believe in this deck's ability to cop that hard. Even with what I pointed out about the interaction being double, outside of some very, very lucky hands, this looks a lot more like a Steven Seagal cop type deck. Not Punisher girthy Poro, but maybe a mildly overweight man wearing a Punisher t-shirt. That's more of what I'm getting. And most of that is coming off of the, like, I talked about it before, the sneaky snacker into opt loop, which is abundantly clever. The inconveniencer. It is abundantly clever, and I cannot see how most of these cards not dying for stock up is a strict trade up on what the deck wants to do. And so let me go to the playtest and see where it's currently at. We do OG Duel. Hell yeah, we get Dragonfire Blade. This will get to our commander eventually, so we don't give a fuck about anything. Yeah, we just like, we land pass into our commander. Very nefarious of us. We spend 1, equip Dragonfire Blade. We have a 3/5 who can't be shot with monocolored things. Actually, we probably got to get it going. We cast Talrand instead of equipping this guy. So we're about to be Tabletop, but we're still on Donut Break currently. We Scalding Tarn. That will fetch a Sulphur Falls. And we can Frantic Search. Now this is where me being as you cast, and so I do not think we can use this Drake that we make the casualty Frantic Search, because I think we would have to have the Drake as we were going to put it on the stack. So we get a Drake. We frantic search. We could mystical tutor. Poppet Stitcher could be cute, but we already have the type of effect we want him to be. And we get to untap our lands. We have 3 cards in the graveyard now. 4 cards. I'm gonna dig through time. And I'm gonna delve. I don't give a fuck about my graveyard. So I exile 1, 2, 3, 4. This goes down to being 4 mana. I sack the Drake to... Wait. Oh, first each turn, I weep openly. I do the frantic search thing, and then I guess I pass. And then on my next turn... You tell me, Freeze. Which of these two equally good and very strong card draw spells are we going to cast? Then the green player swings a 5/4 with trample at you. Okay, Cass, you do have to say something threatening. Yeah, so we dig through time on somebody else's end step. So I don't think we get to opt even. Yeah. We look at 14 cards. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We 100% want Krark. We 100% want New Blood. The rest of these cards can go fuck themselves. We definitely want the win con. And then we probably want the interaction spell. Huzzah! Now we're going to win the game. We have deflecting swat. We Krark. We land drop. And I will try to steal the 2 things that are going to blow me up. I will casualty it, which will make... Oh no, I forgot to make the second token. So we get a Drake, we get to copy it because of Anhello, and then we get to flip a coin to see if we copy it for Krark. I'll say heads wins. Hell yeah, we get a 3rd copy of New Blood. So we have now stolen 3 creatures for 4 mana, and they are all vampires. That's dope as fuck. Now we wait. We do control a wizard. So we're going to draw 2, deal 5. We will again do the little Talran trick. And we will do the Krark trick. We copy it. So we get 3 copies of this. We're going to draw 6, and we're going to shoot 3 things for 5. And here the game kind of has to be fine, right? Like if we get board wiped, we're unhappy, and in literally every other world, we're perfectly happy. This is functional. This is good. It seems like once we get Talran, once we get any of the things that are a repeatable instance of a 2 power body out, then all of our removal feels pretty good. New Blood feels very good in particular. I think a great deal of what well, the only thing I have even... Oh, you're the devil. The only thing I have a little bit of a beef with is that I would love to see more attention to things like stock up in the list. I think things like... I am an Opt lover. I am a dedicated Opt fanboy. Opt goes in the first draft of every single commander deck I have ever made. It's always bad, and it always dies. Now, turning 1 mana into draw 4 right? Village Rights is good enough. I would let you keep it. Opt and Expressive Iteration seem to me more like excuses to keep really bad hands. Kind of the same goes for Startle, and I think the same goes for Sneaky Snacker, potentially even Archmage Emeritus, because we're kind of half on what we want to be doing, which is I cast a really big dramatic thing and I give a really annoying speech before I do it. And then we're half on what if I cantrip through my whole deck. And I think the deck is probably better served by being on what if I cast this big dramatic thing. Like if I casualty and Krark copy Siphon Mind, I'm winning that game, and I have guaranteed created 3 people who hate the Grixis Color Wedge. If I copy Dig Through Time, like we saw in that playtest, I have the tools I need to go forth and win that game. If I copy like Soul Shatter or New Blood, the shit is handled. If I copy Opt, unless you have a very, very good Pot of Greed line that you can pull out, I don't believe in it very much. Rest in piss, Alec, man. Especially because our commander is solo mana, I feel like most of the things we would want to do, like the things we may want to do before playing our commander, are either playing a cost reducer, which I'm not even actually that confident about playing a cost reducer, but we would want to play a mana rock, or we would want to play a thing that makes us tokens. I think Jadar or Bloodghast. And then we basically always want to play our commander as soon as possible. And so the stuff like Opt seems like the copium you huff to keep a hand that only has like 1 land in it. Like I feel like if you see a hand that has a land, a rock, an Opt, you go, I'll find it. When you should just be fucking mulliganing, dog. And later in the game, in a world where we have gotten our commander out, if we need to either find the pieces that are going to make our commander go off, or if our commander is going off, we would always rather have it be something that is like medium cost. Medium cost, but gets us way more cards. So stock up. If you really don't like that it's sorcery speed, then it just becomes something like Factor Fiction. I would personally prefer stock up, but Factor Fiction is really just like instant speed, get some cards out of the top 5. There's also Memories Returning, which notably doesn't say draw, and so will not work with your freaky, sneaky stacker game plan, but will get you just a shitload of cards into hand. And I would be planning all of my turns around, I cast a medium-sized sorcery, and I hold up a good instant. And so I also question... well, I guess... Do I question, or do I not question? You only have 35 lands, and you only have like 5 rocks, so we're not going to have a lot of money. I think like Grixis Land does not have Disneyland money. They, you know, their hot dogs are questionable. They do not have safety inspections. 15 people have died in the last year, only 14 of which were by design. And so if we're going to be low on monies, that leads me even more towards we need the stock ups of the world to make sure that we have land drops, and that on other people's turns we can hold up, like, not Fatal Push specifically, but we can hold up cheap interaction that we can casualty. Flashbacks also make me happy. So this section is good. I fucking hate Sinister Concierge, but I'm going to choose to believe that you have had at least one exceedingly funny interaction with this. I also hate Sneaky Snacker, but I'm going to presume that you have casualtied it for opt one time and been like, this is the best card ever. Startle draws a card, which is like... I think what's gripping me about Startle is it's so cute and you want to be the bad guy. It feels like I'm looking at childhood photos of the Joker. Because it's a little tricksy meme card, right? Startle's for the body, nothing else. This feels like we have so many good options of things that make bodies. We have better options of how to make bodies. We have better options of ways to draw cards. And so if we are really hard up for a body, we should just play a thing that is going to get us to one of our engines. Like, I can't really think of, or not can't think of, I think of all the situations where Startle is going to save us, something else would have saved us harder, type of thing. Like if you... I'm trying to think about what allegories I can make without getting banned for terms of service. Well, it's notably not a free chump blocker. It is not, it's a body for casualty. It's just a casualty body. Which is not nothing. Casualty bodies in this deck are kind of like the bread and butter of it. But when we already have the critical mass of being pretty confident we're going to draw into a better or more reusable body, I would rather do like... Like we've shown Stock Up, we've shown Factor Fiction, we've shown Memories Returning. Am I blind or is Reassembling Skeleton not in the list? This isn't in the list because it doesn't work for casualty. It's not. No. We need them to have power 2. We can't do power 1. So Reassembling Skeleton. Bad. Bad, and you should feel bad. Can't you sacrifice 2 power 1s? Yes, but it's going to be much harder to sacrifice 2 power 1s than to just fill the deck with power 2s. Sauce God, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home for the 4th month. It's good to have you back. What about Gutter Bones? Yeah, genuinely, I think if we're playing Startle, Gutter Bones is probably the better option because at least it's reusable somehow. Hostile Negotiations. Exile the top 3 in a face down, then top 3 in another face down. Oh yeah, this would also be pretty good. But I think our ideal curve out is in the first 2 turns, I play something that has 2 power. On my 3rd turn, I play Anhelo. On my 4th turn, I play something that fills my hand crazy style. And then turns 5 and above, I get freaky with it. We could probably use Bloodsoaked Champion if we actually throw our removal around. Another thing I would like to add is, let me see the exact wording. I want to pull it out when people are being an asshole. And you also said villains punish villains. I think we are falling short of super villainy behavior. Now, there is some type of like meta call here, but most of this deck looks like I make you wait until I get enough land drops for Torment of Hailfire to be cracked. The best thing, my favorite part of the playtest we did, was when I got to copy New Blood 3 times. I think we can make that play pattern more likely, and I think we can make the deck more imposing and meaningfully more salty if Grixis Land puts in a robbery attraction. I think this is particularly useful for if, and again, I'm not going to advocate for this in general, but if you are playing against one person who's being a dickhead, stealing their best creatures out of their deck is one of the ruder things you can do without really stepping outside the bounds of what's like legal and fair gameplay. And notably, bribery is also going to give you something to do that is not sitting in the corner twirling your mustache like a crazy person. I'd recommend this card. I would recommend at least one out of that group of stock up, memories returning, factor fiction, hostile negotiations, etc., etc. I don't know if I like this too much. I think this again seems a lot like we're daydreaming about its flexibility instead of just being like, what is a 4-mana card that it's really fucked up for me to cast twice? We could do Come Back Wrong if we're focusing on casualty. Unfortunately, this is not going to work because, or I don't think it will, because on Hello only says the first one you cast each turn has casualty. And so if we do Come Back Wrong, we have the option to casualty this, but we cannot use the things we take for casualty. Oh yeah, and if we, another just beloved hater fucking card, if you want to punish a bad actor, there's nothing like sculpting their hand. If we're gonna be haters, let's be true haters. So you can do head games, you can do bribery. There's inevitable betrayal. I think targeted hate is also necessary for what you're doing. This I kind of like less than bribery. Bribery I like more because decks like this, their number one danger is losing momentum. There is a reason that that movies with like compelling villains are typically not 18 hours long. There's only so long that you can hold everybody's attention when you are attempting to hold it for a negative reason. And so if we're attempting to hold it for a negative reason, I like having some ways that we can just fuck everybody else's days up. But it's really important that we get to the conclusion of the tour, and that the conclusion of the tour is everybody else being dead. So some other very easy ways to do it are, okay, I'm robbing the token player of Craterhoof, or I'm robbing the landfall player of their Avenger of Zendikar. And if I particularly don't like you, because you were a dick in the previous game, I'm going to casualty bribery to steal the pieces of your infinite combo. If I'm just trying to win, I target the stompy player and I get the 2 best cards in their deck. Praetor's Grasp could connect to that. Genuinely, I'm not sold on Cruel Ultimatum because this deck is broke as fuck. This is a great hater card to double. However, this is 35 lands, 5 mana rocks. This deck has never counted to 7 in its fucking life. And that is what kind of makes me doubt the like Exsanguinate Torment of Hailfire strategy, and is why I'm recommending something like Bribery. I think we're kind of low on our ability to count upwards unless we're resolving just a shitload of card draw. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at that. It's fucking opt, baby. Great. You were very helpful. Yeah, this guy fucking sucks, by the way. So I will play this. No, I'll Talrand again because the most important thing is always setting up this fuck-ass engine. City of Brass. I'm killing Fairy Mastermind to Frantic Search twice. Draw 2. Fuck this land. Fuck this spell. Next one on the stack, I'll float 3 mana. Draw 2. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. So 3 floating. 1 goes to Soul Ring. I have 2 floating. I'll play Stormkiln Artist. Okay. And this is actually another perfect thing to point out in the playtest, which is we get to a part where we have everything we need other than being devastatingly low on cards. We are saved here because Siphon Mind is going to let us draw 3 and then double into drawing 6. However, if we have Opt in this situation, or if we have Startle in this situation, this is where we do this big turn, we present this terrifying instant and sorcery engine, and then we sorry, I can't really get the honk right today, but you understand what I'm saying. So I like cards like this. If we had also drawn well fuck, we actually could have paid. No, we can't pay for Cruel Ultimatum, we don't have the pips. But if we get Siphon Mind, if we get Bribery would be perfectly fine to cast in this situation. I want us to have a slightly higher critical mass of meaty 3 to 5 mana spells that it feels really, really good to casualty. And so we're going to casualty this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we get this out. We don't get Lier out this turn. Maybe we could have gotten some combination of that up. But if we get Lier out, now we have to Siphon Mind again. We could do more modal spells. I like Realm Sketching. That is this is another good solid card. It should literally never feel bad to double cast. And DMC, thank you for the 100-bit cheer on Sadistic Sacrament. Let me look. This is very funny hater shit. I think this is a card you think about in the shower after the game as like an argumentative retort, not the other way you demons might be thinking of. I doubt this deck is being played against combo decks. This looks like a deck that is for like bracket 3-ish tables, and so I doubt Sadistic Sacrament is going to be the appropriate response, because if you're playing against a deck where Sadistic Sacrament is like deals with the mechanical problem, that's definitely a situation where it should have just been an out-of-game conversation about, hey, why were you a dickhead? Why did you Thoracle us in the bracket 2 game? We're looking for kind of the intersection between people are not acting up so dramatically that we have to stand up from the table and be like, hey man, what the fuck's going on? But we want to be rude enough like we're trying to BM, we're not trying to foul. This could be funny, but I think is a little bit too far outside of our control. I think I would like, we have no shortage of funny Grixis spells that we can just cast totally under our own power. I like Mystic Confluence. So Freeze, broadly, I like this. The only thing I'm really hating on is your love of Opt. I know you think Casualty 2 makes it good. It doesn't. Casualty 2 makes it less dog shit. But overall, I think this is a pretty responsible Grixis deck, and it is very, very funny to me that we think responsible Grixis deck equals asshole control deck. I think it could be a little bit heavier on things that drive your own game plan forward, and for that reason I would recommend that like Opt, Expressive Iteration, Startle, Fairy Mastermind we can at least kill with hammers. Even like Archmage Emeritus, because like Archmage Emeritus as an engine I think is easily replaced by casting stock up one time. And turning those into things like realm sketching or bribery or head games, if you want everybody at the table to hate you forever, will feel like you are taking meteor turns rather than just monologuing, which is I think the greatest danger you face. So I'll put you up here. I think it's cute. I think you've done a nice and cute thing for us here, and I like your amusement park. Is Enter the God Eternal strong enough? What in the random bullshit go is happening on this card? Freeze, look away. I don't even want to ask if you like this, because if you do, that is inappropriate. No, this is not correct. But we could also do like, you may never get to this because of your pip requirement, and so I think like realm sketching and bribery are better versions of this, but Invoke the Winds is also a good hatred in specific thing you can be on. But that's what I would want, is I would want more things that are, I casualty this and now I have some degree of board state, rather than I have to wait and wait and wait until I hit 10 land drops for Exsanguinate. Speaking of moving around some blood in my body, YOLO Knots, thank you for the 50 gifted community subs on Twitch, my friend. That is impeccably generous. Welcome back to Dog Heaven, my friend. Thank you for the content while I was grinding out practice problems. Found out I got the job today and wanted to share with the community. Can we get some congrats in chat for YOLO Knots and their brand new job, which was definitely a little bit olive because of me, kind of, if you don't think about it too hard. Thank you very, very much, YOLO. I appreciate that generosity so much, and I am so glad that you got that job, my friend. That's awesome. Tim, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. But that is fucking awesome. I hope that that job makes you so much money that those 50 gift subs are not even a thing to you. I appreciate them so much. And that's actually going to be where the end of today's stream is. I was looking at Rice Quinn's. They're in London time. And so I'm going to reschedule with them because I can feel my voice going. Because I think they were probably just asleep for the entire stream because I didn't hit them with a reminder. So I'm going to settle that with them. Freeze, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Thank you again. Had a good time. I'm very glad you enjoyed yourself, Freeze. I know I did. We're going to... Oh, what's up, Gio? What's up? I'll field one last round of questions. Yeah. We can make that happen. Oh yeah, email. Sorry, the text is really small on YouTube. You're either email or emilly. But yes, this is currently live. Could I get your thoughts on my favorite commander? Banned. Alright, we're gonna raid out. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to our roasties for putting up with me today. Let's see which of the homies are live. Beeps is live. We're going to raid into Beeps, hit them with the indestructible Justin rant as they clean their office. You can access that with ! Voltron. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching, for following, for subbing. If you're YOLO Knots, thank you for gifting 50 tier 1 subs. That is so incredible. And congrats on your new job, buddy. We will be live again Friday. Friday is going to be a variety stream. I promised we would do Darkest Dungeon. We will be back to Darkest Dungeon on Friday. I hope to see you all there. I hope you're having a good week. And remember to stay toxic. YouTube and TikTok, that's just going to be it for us. But I'll see you Friday.